We're Charlie and Leanne, a couple from California who left our cushy suburban life to spend the next several years cruising around the Pacific Ocean on our boat, Juliet. And our little dog, too.
Charlie and I are still here in Southern California, house sitting and isolating in our cousin's house. We sure wish we were still down on Juliet, but unfortunately we can't be there. The infection rates are still too high, but we're hoping that things go well enough so that we can go back to Juliet at the end of the summer. That's the plan. The good news is that we had Juliet moved to a safer marina, better protected for hurricane season. And we have a team of professionals who are watching her. We have the guys from La Paz Cruiser Supply, people that we really trust, and we know that they will take very good care of her, check on her on a regular basis, and make sure she's buttoned down in case a storm comes in. So thanks, guys. Hi, Rich, saying hello. Anybody who has a YouTube channel knows that your videos are never in real time. It takes time to record all that footage, time to pull it all together, and actually produce the videos. So what you are usually seeing on the videos is at least a few weeks behind what's actually going on. But last time, in the last episode, we did something a little bit different. We recorded a video for something that we had just done and went ahead and published it. So we had gone kind of out of the time sequence, but we are now going to go back into our time sequence, into chronological time from the previous episode. I still have a ton of footage from our cruising in the Sea of Cortez, enough for at least a couple more episodes. So stick around, watch this next video. We're going to get you and us back on the water where I know you want to see us and where we sure want to be. So enjoy.
In our last sailing episode, we left Puerto Escondido for points north, exploring a couple of the many picturesque uninhabited islands in the Sea of Cortez. We had movie night aboard Juliet, and then we went snorkeling. In this episode, we begin our return journey to La Paz, getting in lots of sailing, and stopping at a few of our favorite anchorages along the way, like Agua Verde, Los Gatos, and San Evaristo. We have some extraordinary wildlife encounters, including dive-bombing pelicans, leaping dolphins, skittering crabs, creepy snorkeling, and mysterious disappearing puffin birds. But then our little dog Bubba starts to show some worrisome symptoms, so we pick up the pace of our return. Leaving Puerto Escondido meant navigating through the same labyrinth of rocks and tiny islands that we'd encountered on the way there. But it also gave us some opportunities for very cool video shots, like this one of our buddy boating partners' Red Shoes sailing on the other side of these craggy rocks.
So we're doing the return trip from Puerto Escondido to Agua Verde, and right now we're going through the various rocks and islets that are just south of Puerto Escondido. So this is that more challenging navigation area where we have relatively shallow water and a lot of different obstacles to go around. But it's really beautiful today. The sun is out, it's very bright and sunny, and you can see all the nice greenery, the cactus and the ground cover on the little islands. So it looks a lot nicer than it did on the way in when it was in the afternoon and darker out. So this is my crew on a 3.5-4 hour passage from Puerto Escondido to Bahia Agua Verde. Leanne there, and Mr. Bubba there. Here we are sailing along, and we're on a course to Bahia Agua Verde. It's just a beautiful day. You can see the mountains. There's our friends on Red Shoes. And we're just sailing along off the coast here, a mile or two, with the whales. It's a perfect day. We've got about just under 7 knots of wind. We're sailing along at 3.5, 4 knots, which is okay with us. It's better than powering, and a lot of people say you don't get much sailing time in the Sea of Cortez, but so far we've been pretty lucky. We've been able to sail 2/3 of the time on many of our legs.
There was no way we were going to skip Agua Verde, one of our favorite anchorages of all time. This is the place where we saw goats on the beach and in the trees. We made another trip to the goat dairy to buy some more of their delicious homemade goat cheese. And then we relaxed on the beach to do one of our favorite pastimes in the Sea of Cortez, watching the dive-bombing pelicans. The next day, we left Agua Verde in overcast skies. It wasn't long before those clouds grew darker, and suddenly we were in a pretty heavy downpour. But hey, a little rain doesn't scare us. We're pretty confident in our storm management techniques, and this was just a standard spring rainstorm. After nearly 40 years of sailing together, and Lord knows how many dolphin encounters, you'd think we'd get tired of seeing dolphins, but nope, never. It is always a thrill.
Oh my God, one just jumped so far up. I'm out here in the pouring rain because we've got this huge whale right here that I want to get on video. Well, I guess I won't need a shower later. I'm getting one now.
We were thrilled to be back at Los Gatos, even though the dark clouds kind of muted the brilliant hues of the rocks. We immediately set to our usual beachcombing, where we encountered this happy little fellow. It turned out we were not alone here. There was a tour group here, run by one of the local ecotourism companies. It's actually a pretty cool gig. They will set up your tents for you, and then prepare and serve you your meals right there on the beach. By now the pandemic was starting to make the news. We'd been mostly off the grid, so we were eager to hear the latest. We got to talking with the campers and guides, and they told us this was the last group they were going to be able to take. The government was shutting down all tours in the area. That got our attention. But we had other priorities right now, such as doing a little hiking into the interior and gawking over the sight of the majestic mountains in the distance, made even more dramatic by the misty clouds.
Sunrise in Los Gatos.
By the next day, the sun was out again, so of course I had to get underwater. The Sea of Cortez has an almost legendary status among divers and marine naturalists. John Steinbeck wrote a book about his voyage here in 1940, and Jacques Cousteau famously called it the world's aquarium. And now I could see why. For this next snorkeling sequence, I did something a bit different. I looked up all the critters I saw and I labeled them. Enjoy!
Sailing along really nicely here on our way from Los Gatos to San Evaristo, and we're going through a channel here, and we've got 13 knots of wind. We're sailing along at 4.5 knots with our main and jib. It's a sunny day, really nice day today. Anyway, you might be able to see I'm hand steering. We've got an issue with our autopilot. When we set our autopilot, it works for a few minutes and then it says no rudder response. Not sure exactly what the root cause is, whether it's a software issue or the rudder feedback sensor or possibly the drive unit. But in order to get to those things, I have to rip everything out of the port and starboard lasarets, and I just don't feel like doing that while underway or at anchor. So we'll probably end up hand steering until we get back to La Paz. We have the original autopilot as well. It's got its own separate computer, compass, rudder feedback sensor. It shares a common pump or drive unit. And I tried using that and it didn't seem to want to work. So unfortunately I never tested it after we installed the new autopilot. So I don't know if maybe there's a wiring issue or what. But again, we'll sort that out when we get back to La Paz. Anyway, in the meantime, it's not too terrible because we've got relatively short legs. This leg will be about 6 hours maybe, and we're already a couple of hours into it, so we'll be able to deal with it.
And we were back in San Evaristo. If you've been watching our videos, you'll remember this was the place where we saw the most amazing double rainbow in the history of rainbows. It's also got that great beach palapa where Bubba got to hang out with his friends again, and we got to enjoy fish tacos and cervezas with our friends Barbara and Brian from Red Shoes. It's also a very active fishing village, and since I'd had zero luck dragging my own line, I decided to approach a couple of fishermen on the beach.
So I saw Panga come up. He just pulled up and he had all these yellowtail on board. And I asked him if he would sell it to me. At first he said no, but I said, oh, uno, solo uno. And he went ahead and sold me this big, huge yellowtail, which is super heavy. But damn it, that is going to feed us for this. I'm going to make this thing into steaks and freeze them, and this is going to feed us for weeks. I'm very excited.
And it did. I got 6 full meals out of that fish, and it was some of the best tasting fish we've had yet. I also finally got a chance to get in the water here, which I wasn't able to do last time due to bad weather. There weren't a ton of critters here, but I did notice this particular crevasse, which seemed to be drawing the attention of some of the fish swimming around. So I had to get a closer look, and I found dancing fish. It was also here where we saw something we'd never seen before, mysterious disappearing flocks of tiny little seabirds. There would be a big group of them floating near our boat, and suddenly they would all disappear underwater.
Oh, way out there.
They'd stay underwater for sometimes more than 2 minutes, and then they'd reappear somewhere far from where they started. I had the hardest time predicting where they'd come up.
I got him going under.
There they all are. There they all go down.
We think they are some kind of puffin, but it's possible they are Pacific grebes. Hey, if you're a bird expert, tell us what you think they are in the comments. Time to move on. We set sail for our next anchorage, but by then, something very worrisome was happening. Our little dog Bubba started showing signs of some kind of illness. He was coughing this awful hacking cough, and it was getting worse. Here you can see him doing it. It was getting so bad it was keeping us all up nights, which was hard on all of us. And he seemed to be getting more lethargic than usual, not wanting to run on the beach. So for that reason, and of course the looming pandemic, we were eager to get back to La Paz. Be sure to come back for our next episode, as we pick up the pace of our return journey, sailing from San Evaristo to Isla San Francisco, and then on to Isla Partida. Along the way, we do some of the most awe-inspiring and scariest cliff edge hiking yet. If you enjoyed this video, please click like and maybe drop us a comment and let us know what you think. And please keep coming back.